Welcome back. In this session, we are going to talk about the arrow function. As we learned about functions declarations and functions expression in the last video, but there is a third type of function that was added to JavaScript in the version of ES6, and that's the arrow function. It's simply a special form of function expression that is shorter and therefore faster to write. From the previous video, we'll take the function expression, so we'll just go ahead and copy this. Okay, here we paste it and okay. So we took from the previous example this one. So here let's write the arrow function here. So arrow function, we simply write what we want to return. So in this case, let's take the birth year. Okay, in this case we are going to write the birth year. So outside this we are going to declare the birth year, and we are going to give the arrow symbol. So this is the arrow symbol here. So we are going to take the previous example, like 2037 is the present year, from that minus birth year. So we are going to store this birth year in the variable. So we'll store this in the variable. So let's declare in the const. So calculate age 3 equals to birth year. Okay. So here we are going to close this, and in the next column we are going to store age 3 equals to calculate age 3. So here we are going to give our input as 1990, for example. You can take anything. So console.log, here we'll print this to the console. As you can see, our output is 47 here. So here we call cal age 3, just like we call the other cal function. Okay, and again here we save the return value here to the variable. So constant age cal 3 here it is, and console.log. Now here you can see that without using parenthesis, this here is a function. So this actually is the simplest form which we can write whenever we want to return something. So you get it right? Yeah, but it will get a little bit more complex when we add more parameters. Or so let's go ahead and write a function. So let's say that how many years a person has left until retirement. So let's call this as a function, years until retirement. So here we are going to declare a value here, years until retirement, right? So the value we are going to bring this from the birth year. Okay. And here we use this operator, and then we'll open the curly braces. Here we are going to write the constant age equals to 2037 minus birth year. Okay. And again we are going to declare this constant retirement. Okay, here we are going to declare 65, because 65 we are going to set the constraint as the retirement age. From that we'll just minus the age we are going to get right now. So let's return the retirement. Okay, so and now here we are going to console and log this into the screen. So years until retirement. So here we are going to declare the input value. Here, for example, 1990. Here we are going to declare. So here we are not storing anything into the variable. Here we are just directly logging into the console. So as you can see here, we have declared this birth year, right? So this value, function value, we are storing in this constant variable here. So and we are storing this here in this h3 here, this function in the h3, we just called it out here. So we just gave it here and right. So years until retirement. So we are just going to store that in the variable constant. Okay, so let's say that it is constant. So let's go ahead and see the output. See, as you can see, there are 18 years left for more for the retirement here. So how? So the scenario when we have one parameter here and then more than one line of code basically. And remember, in this situation, we need the return statement here. Okay. Here we are having only one thing, right? So we need our return statement here itself. But now when we have multiple parameters, we will then need to wrap these parameters here into the parenthesis in the VS Code. So select the variable into parenthesis on the both sides. Let's say that we want the birth year, but also the first name. So we can like return something else like a sentence. So let's going to declare here a constant years, right? So here we are going to add one more thing like first name here, okay? And it was wrapped in the parenthesis. So in the return statement, for now I'm just turning this off. So we'll declare a return statement in the format of string. So we are writing here our return statement. Let's say first name retires in retirement here, and then here we'll write years. Okay, so and then we'll just go ahead and select this. So here in this case we are going to print two people here. So in 1990 we'll just declare a person's name called Max here. So we are not storing any variable here. Also again we are declaring it directly in the console. So we'll add one more console.log years left until retirement. Here in this curly braces we are going to write the year. So let's say 1991. So here we'll say one more. Here we'll say one more name. So let's go ahead and call this out. See, as you can see, Max retires in 18 years and here Maggie retires in 19 years. As you can see, we have declared our return statement in the form of string here. So as you can see from the previous lecture's knowledge, we have written in that format. So this is how the arrow functions works. Just keep in mind couple of different scenarios that there are regarding to this number of lines of code that you need and number of parameters. So you add more code and more parameters, it gets a little bit more complex and we kind of lose the advantage of using an arrow function. So you might as well get the same question as me. So before here, what type of function should I use? So should I use the same function as everything since they are easy to write? And and as well to answer it simply no. So that's because there is another fundamental difference between the arrow and more traditional functions. So for now we'll keep using this mainly the normal functions except a very simple one liner function. For example, this for example, as you can see this here, these arrow functions are also important. We'll use them in the course. So you got clarity, right? So how we are getting an output here. So how these functions are working. So try an example on your own and just get an idea. So let's move on to the another video.